All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second Pride of Arizona podcast of 2020. My name is Davis Hong, and I'm the host of this podcast. I play cymbals. Today, we have a larger group of people joining us. We have Anthony, we have Gracie, Brooks, and Sariah, and I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves. So whichever you guys want to go first, please give me your name, your major, year in college / year in Pride, and then what is the weirdest instrument you know about? The weirdest instrument you know about. So whoever wants to go first, go ahead.
I guess I'll go first. My name is Gracie. I am a biomedical science major, and I'm going to also be doing a music minor. I'm a second year in college, and this is also my second year in the Pride. And I'd say the weirdest instrument I know, it's like invisible, like where people have their hand and it makes like noise and they move it or whatever.
Theremin, yes.
Yeah,
I don't know
theremin.
what it's called, but
Theremin, yep.
Theremin.
yeah.
Yeah. We had that for an indoor drumline show in high school. We used the theremin in the show. It was sick. All right. Yeah, awesome. All right, who's next?
I'll go ahead and go. My name is Anthony. I will be part of the mellophone section this year. I've been a clarinet player for a very long time and still am. I'm a music education major and basically a clarinet performance major at this point. And probably the weirdest instrument I know of is the kimbasso. It's a really freaking giant, weird bass trombone thing that there's a big section that sits here and the bell points forward. It's ridiculous. It just makes earth-shattering low notes, and it's just amazing.
That sounds awesome. That's super sick. I gotta look that up. Oh, man. All right. Brooks, you want to go next?
Hi, my name is Brooks. I play tuba. I will be a senior this year. That means this is my 4th year in the Pride. I'm studying economics, and it's not really weird, but I just don't I mean, I understand it, but the triangle is a weird instrument to me. I don't know. I guess I just don't trust it. I'm just always staring at it. It's just kind of, it's not weird, and I completely understand why it does what it does and why it looks like that, but
yeah, I understand.
But yeah,
if you think about it, yeah, triangle it's kind of weird. Just like ding.
I just don't trust it.
An untrustworthy instrument. Heck yeah. All right, Sariah, coming up.
So my name is Sariah. This is my 3rd year in school, my 3rd year in Pride. I'm a physiology major, and the weirdest instrument that I know of is the mouth harp.
Oh.
It's just like Brooks. I don't trust it. It was just. I saw it on an episode of Wizards of Waverly Place as a kid, and ever since I just could not wrap my head around it, and I just.
I see. Yeah. That's how I feel kind of with leaf harps when people just pick up like a blade of grass or something and start playing. I'm like, that's weird. So obviously my name is Davis. This is my 3rd year in the Pride, 3rd year in college. I'm a sociology major. Weirdest instrument, Gracie stole mine. I was going to say a theremin because I knew of one and I've played it before and it's like super weird to mess around with. But I'm going to have to say automaton just because it sounds crazy and I have one, but it's broken, which is sad. But yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it here. So let's start off by talking about you guys. So how has your guys' year been going with everything going on? Have you guys been hanging in with school? Is school just terrible? For me, it's somewhere in the middle, but I'm interested in hearing how you guys are faring in school so far.
Well, for me, the switch to online definitely was like a shock because I'm not one for online school. I need the in-person, face-to-face, like in-class setting. Like I'm not an online person at all, but I definitely have adjusted really well, gotten better with like my organization, my time management and everything. So it was a rough start at first, but now I've finally settled in with it all. And I'm just hoping that we get back in person sooner than later when it is safe.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, anyone else?
I feel like for me, it was kind of like Gracie said, a rough start, because it's different and it's weird, and online learning used to be that alternative method of learning that, you know, you just didn't do because it wasn't traditional.
Right.
But I also feel like people are a lot more shy to answer in class because it's dead silent and you're not all in a classroom with ambient noise and everything. And I know that I hate being called on. 100% I hate it, but it happens a lot more and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, because when you're in like a Zoom class, all they can do is look at the side and pick a random name versus like when you're in a class, they can see your face, they can see your body language. If you just kind of give them like I don't know the answer to then they'll know. But yeah, 100%. All right, what about Anthony and Brooks? You guys doing good?
You want to go first, Brooks?
Sure, I can. It's, it's just the same. My experience is pretty much the same as everyone else's. This all stinks. We all want to be in person. But that's obviously not realistic right now. So I think every day, is just a struggle that we have to get through. But I'm doing fine, I guess. And you just have to take it one day at a time. So yeah, that's.
Yeah. It's really good. That's how I've kind of found myself like getting into a rhythm is like one day at a time. Like I do this, I do this, I do this, and then I go back to sleep. And then I wake up and I do this, this, this. And you kind of have to get used to that. Otherwise, it's kind of easy to go insane with everything going on. So
Yeah.
Well, my Mondays are oh, you can go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
My Mondays, I start Zoom at 10 in the morning, and then I go all the way to 7 at night. And then I have a break from 2 to 3. But I'm kind of just. I think Davis, you may have saw me at the student staff meeting.
Yeah.
I was kind of my brain kind of just gave up. Some days I just give up, not give up, but I just lose focus. But like we have to take it one day at a time.
Yeah, 100%. All right. And how about Anthony? How have you been doing, man?
I've been doing pretty good. I think just trying to fall back into a routine and just sort of holding yourself accountable, because I think now that it goes from like quarantine where it was like, at least for practicing and stuff, it's like you have so much time, so you have, I don't know, it's easier to like find time to do stuff, but now it's a weird medium between like hustling because there's so much going on and you have to practice during this hour, you have to do homework during this hour, because otherwise when are you going to sleep, versus having this sort of medium where like I have like 3 hours to do like 1 hour of homework, and that's like the scariest thing in the world because I'm just going to procrastinate and it's just going to never get done. So I think trying to find just a routine to where and just be a little bit more self-disciplined when you kind of have to be the one person holding yourself accountable.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, let's go ahead and move on here. So obviously, even though we're starting college and we're getting used to being on virtual, it is definitely something that more free time does exist, even if it doesn't feel exactly the same. I know I'm busy. I know a lot of other people are busy, but it is much when you take out the time it takes to travel to class and travel back, there's some time there. So how have you guys been kind of spending your additional free time? I know I've just been listening to a lot of music and playing games with friends, but that's about all I've been doing. So how about you guys? What have you guys been doing to kind of fill that space?
Well, I have been trying to go to sleep earlier, that's for sure, whenever I get my homework done on time, which then usually wake up at like 5:30 in the mornings almost every day. Yes, I know, crazy, but because I have started working out recently, so just because I want to get moving instead of sitting in my room all day. But yeah, and then also like cleaning around my apartment or just like drawing or reading, doing stuff that I normally wouldn't do in my free time. But yeah, those are a couple of things that I've been doing that I normally would not do.
Yeah, getting to sleep early is important, especially because if you don't get used to that, then you could just stay up like all day and you're like, oh shoot, it's 4 a.m. Oops. Right. How about any of you guys, Sariah?
Well, I've been getting crafty other than, getting a job and supporting that craftiness because I'm poor. But I started making soap, when everyone was buying soap and there was no hand sanitizer or anything. So I make soap now, and it's just like, okay, it's just going to sit there until I have to use it. All right. Yeah. And it's just, I've also been playing Animal Crossing like everybody does. It's It's like being outside, but not. The benefit of Animal Crossing. It's just free time it's a novelty that I've never really quite known what to do with before, and now I have so much of it. It's like, oh, okay, now I really have to find out something to do. I can't just sleep because too much sleep is a bad thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about you, Anthony? How have you been spending your free time besides practicing? But
Yeah, I probably should. My answer should be just practicing between clarinet and mellophone and trumpet and all the and piano and all the stuff that music ed majors have to do. Between that, I should only be practicing, but you need to occupy yourself with other things. I actually I inline skate, so I've been doing that a lot lately. I'm masking up, staying away from people, but I've been doing that almost every day now, and it's getting better every day, and it just feels really good. And then I guess I've been playing some Rocket League lately too. I'm probably gonna get on that after today, after this thing. So yeah, it's gonna be cool. Get to play some games with some friends from high school. It's gonna be great.
awesome. And finally, Brooks, how have you been spending what little free time you have away from Zoom and away from your computer?
I think my internet may be unstable right now. Am I back?
You're good. You're good.
Okay. So if you know me, I love watching hockey. And so I've been ever since break. I guess ever since March, I've just been watching more hockey. And when we didn't have the NHL running, then I was just watching old games from the '80s. But now hockey is back, so I've just been watching that whenever I'll do my homework before games, so I don't procrastinate, which I used to be the king of. But yeah, I've just been watching hockey or practicing when
Who
I
you got in
can.
the finals?
And I hope I didn't cut out.
Oh, sorry, Brooks. Who do you have in the finals for Stanley Cup?
I think I want Tampa.
Yeah,
That would be a nice comeback story.
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
You're good. You're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I have Tampa. I think it would be a nice story, comeback story after losing the first round last year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm not into hockey that much. I'm from San Diego, so Chargers. Back before the Chargers ditched us for money.
They're still in San Diego in my brain. They still are.
They're in Southern California. It's like it's close enough.
Yeah.
But
I don't even know they left San Diego.
Yeah,
no one does.
I know. I'm sure Chris Brown knows too. Oh man. All right.
Don't tell Chris.
He just doesn't know. He hasn't known. He's like posting all this stuff about the Chargers, doesn't he? All right. So yeah. So one more thing we can talk about as far as how this year is going so far is that obviously we all enjoy music to varying, probably high extents. So I'm wondering if you guys have any music recommendations for anybody listening or watching. So this could be anything from like, oh, I've been listening to a lot of like symphonic music, or I've been listening to this. I've been listening to a lot of like lo-fi style music that doesn't necessarily have lyrics, because that stuff is very easy to study to.
Yeah.
Because at least for me, it's very hard to study if you have like a bunch of lyrics going through your head and you're like singing along with it. So I listen to a lot of lo-fi, a lot of also a lot of math rock, and I've already kind of been into that. But just sort of staying in the realm of not having too many lyrics, and if they do have lyrics, it's more, it's not like the song isn't focused around lyrics. I can enjoy the music for the music instead of just enjoying it for the words.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've been listening to. Do you guys have any recommendations as far as stuff to listen to if you're kind of looking for some music?
I mean, I listen to lo-fi hip-hop as well, like on YouTube, the 24/7 live stream with the girl riding and then with her cat. And then I also have been going back down of my obsession hole with musicals, like Phantom of the Opera and Jekyll and Hyde. For those who don't know what that is, I don't know what that is either. I just came across one of the songs on TikTok. TikTok. It's called The Confrontation. It's a really, really, really good song from that musical. But yeah, that's like what I've been obsessing over recently.
Awesome.
I just got over my Hamilton craze like a month ago.
Oh my gosh, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, on Disney Plus.
It's on Disney Plus. Hamilton is
Oh
on
my
Disney
gosh.
Plus. I would recommend
The
it.
Hamilton.
The Disney Plus version of Hamilton is probably if you can count it as a movie, it's my favorite movie of all time. That is still true, even though I don't listen to them as much as I did for the past month. But
it's also a way to watch Hamilton without buying the super expensive tickets, and with everything going on, it's kind of like the only way to do it. But you know.
No. Could not recommend it enough. And then as far as other groups, I can't. I'm probably my favorite group that I would like recommend to other people. Again, not any sort of like lo-fi sort of thing, but I've been listening to a lot of Ben Folds lately. He's really, really good, crazy talented piano with vocal. He had a group in the '90s that was really popular, and he does solo stuff now that's just really, really cool.
Awesome. How about you, Brooks? You listen to any music?
I've been I'll depending on what mood I'm in, I'll listen to Muse, I've been listening to Muse lately, which they're pretty cool, and I think we performed the Pride performed them in 2010.
Yep, I was gonna say
and that was actually my first marching show I've ever seen. So that was interesting, just seeing them. Yeah. Awesome. But other than Muse, I guess when I go to sleep, I'll listen to White Noise, which isn't a song.
Yeah,
it's just something.
Yeah. I actually okay, I'm gonna find the exact name of this, but it's basically it's called oh god, I don't know how to say the exact name of the artist, but it's basically just general lo-fi stuff that a lot of YouTubers use in YouTube videos and stuff. It's JPN, but it has the little the thing you use in math if you're typing out a math equation to say to the power of in between each letter. I don't know exactly how to pronounce the name, but again, I've been listening to a lot of that because it has very nice production, very pretty sound, and it's very nice just to listen to if you're like trying to do something else while also listening to music. So yeah, so since Brooks mentioned Muse, we can start talking a little bit more about the Pride of Arizona, something that we're all in. So, what is your favorite Pride of Arizona show? So this could be a show that you got to march, a show that you've seen on YouTube, or just a show that you know of, or you just like because of the music. Whichever. For me, I have to say Bruno. I'm going to say this like every week. Bruno is just an amazing show, rock solid show. I really enjoyed watching it, even though I never had like that band day experience because I'm from California in San Diego. So like I watched it in my car with my best friend, and we were like, wow, okay, I'm going to go there. And that was kind of the decision making that went into it. But yeah, so what is your guys' favorite Pride of Arizona show?
I'll go ahead and go. I do definitely have a special place in my heart for Bruno. I did actually get to see it at Band Day, the 1 year out of like 10 that our school went to U of A Band Day because we're in Tempe. Was the year that you guys did Bruno, and it was just, at the time I was an ASU fan, so I was a little bit biased against it, but looking back in retrospect, I don't know what I was thinking. Like I remember liking it, but I remember telling myself I shouldn't. So, but of course, tables have turned now. But I guess No Doubt was so amazing to march. Between No Doubt and Bruno, like those are easily the best.
I have to agree with that. No Doubt was an amazing show to march. And it was also kind of a cool throwback sort of show because we have performed multiple No Doubt songs in the past for the Pride. I'm not 100% sure on the years, but I know that at one point our secondary show, because before like we did like the same show sort of like theme, we would do kind of like a main show and then like a secondary show every once in a while, and we literally did Tragic Kingdom as one of those shows, and then we got to perform it again. And I mean, the shout out from the whole shout out from basically everyone that was in No Doubt was super.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, can't complain there. How about you, Gracie?
I'd say my favorite show is No Doubt not only because it's my rookie year, but just from learning the music and the meaning behind the show. I just love every aspect of it, and it meant not only a lot to me, but probably a lot to a lot of people in the band, as well as people who are watching it and listening to it, just the meaning of it in general. And I love that so much. and it was so fun marching and running and everything. Like,
the end was
so
probably one of the favorite endings to any marching band show I've ever seen or done.
Oh yeah, that was so fun.
And interesting fact about that, we threw real instruments at the end of the show. So some of you guys that might not have seen the in person or may not have seen the box of butchered instruments underneath the podium, at the end of the show, that was kind of the descent into chaos going into the end of it. That we threw real like broken trumpets and pieces of clarinets and a cymbal, and we had a bunch of people donate instruments for that, and that was a really cool thing. Really dangerous, and they had to like use orange tape on one of the broken cymbals that they threw because there was a huge jagged edge on it, and they didn't want to kill somebody. And then at one point, one of the snare drums almost got hit by a piece of a clarinet. So then he picked it up and then threw it even farther, so it was like in the end zone. That was a fun run. But yeah, how about you guys?
I think my favorite show. Well, I love all of them, but I think I can only really narrow it down to a top 3 because I can't play favorites. First would be Daft Punk because that was my freshman year in high school is when I decided that I was going to be in Pride because it was a phenomenal show, and it was my first real experience with a college marching band and what they could do. Second would be Bruno because that show was insane. It was my senior year, and it was great music. It was music that I knew, and I loved hearing how it was interpreted for a marching band. And third, and most importantly, to me would be Justin Timberlake because it was my rookie show, and JT Rookies.
Yeah.
And because it rained.
Yeah.
And I hated putting on my wet uniform after or before the night show.
But the plumes, though. The soaked plumes, though.
I think you mean chickens.
Yes, they smelled like wet dog. For those of you who are wondering, our plumes were soaked and they smelled very bad.
It was awful.
Yeah, but that was, I mean, as far as a first band day experience goes, performing in it, that's like.
Oh yeah,
that was amazing. Like I loved it. Like I was pouring rain, and then like brought my cymbals up and threw water everywhere at the end of the award ceremony. It was a 10 out of 10 experience. Would recommend. All right, Brooks, what's your favorite? You've been here a little longer than most of us. What's your favorite?
Yeah, I would have to say Bruno, surprisingly. I know, shocking. No one ever says Bruno is their favorite. But that was my rookie year. And I think that was my only year in the Pride where I was not equipment manager. So that was just a year where, I had more time with my section, and I just, it was just, it's a different year being a rookie as opposed to, everything's fresh and new, and it's never gotten old, but I do, it's just, it's just special because it's your first year, and at the end of the show, we'd have the tag, and Jeffrey would be playing, our drum major played saxophone to close us out. So that was just a lot of fun, and then also, I guess we were able to go to a Levi Stadium for a bowl game in San Francisco, or the Bay Area.
I heard it was cold.
It was just a little cold. I forget, maybe 40, 50 degrees. And so it was just really nice going, exploring San Francisco with your friends, with my friends. And then if I had to choose a show that I did not march, I guess it would be Muse, again, to bring that up. Just because that's what got me into band when I was in the 5th grade. I saw that. So that was in 2010. So it was just an interesting show. They, if you don't know, they had, they started the show making a clock, and then they had arms that traveled around it. It was just really cool to see that as in the 5th grade. Just watching that and not being, you'll see marching band through movies, but it'll just be them marching in a block or standing in a field. But if most movies don't have actual marching shows. So it was just interesting. That was the first time I had seen something like that.
I mean, there was a marching band in Avengers Infinity War for like 3 seconds.
Yeah, but that was before. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just traditionally, there's not much,
Yeah, I know, like, as far as Muse goes, that was probably the second show I saw from the Frag, because I saw Bruno, I'm like, wow, and then I started going back a little bit, saw Muse, and I'm like, wow, and I didn't even realize that one of the cymbal players in Muse would end up being the cymbal instructor for the Pride, Nicole, and she's great, and she's been here for a little bit, so yeah, that's really awesome. All right, so let's move on to the little bit of Pride of Arizona trivia. Hope you guys studied.
Oh no.
No stress or anything. Just answer what you think the answer is, and we'll see how it goes. All right.
Oh no.
How much older was the Pride of Arizona than our neighbors up north, or ASU, if you will? I will give you the hint that we are older. That's all I'll say. I'm gonna say 10 years.
I want to say like 12.
All right. Any other guesses?
13.
Oh, come on.
All right, let's go ahead and see. So ASU was founded in September 20th, 1915. So they are 105 years old, and we are 118 years old as far as the marching band goes. So I believe that is 13 years.
Oh, come on.
Wow.
We're a little bit older.
That was literally a complete guess.
Yeah,
Okay, so
so
some interesting facts about this is that ASU and U of A were technically founded the same year, except University of Arizona was founded as the University of Arizona, whereas ASU was founded as the Territorial Normal School, which is a school that basically only teaches teachers how to teach, and then officially became ASU in 1958. All right, and this is a nice photo of us from the Battle of the Bands that happens every year. We'll see what happens this year. Everything's crazy, but Battle of the Bands is a tradition where ASU and U of A, we both perform our main halftime shows, and we just and then we perform something during halftime where both bands come out for the big rivalry game, and it's really cool. No matter how much we talk mess about ASU, we've met people from ASU. A lot of people from U of A have friends and family that go to ASU, and they're really cool people. But still, Sun Devils suck. But let's move on. All right. What group/artist has the Pride of Arizona done a second version of? So I'm sure you guys know the Pride of Arizona has done part 2s of some shows. Which groups or artists have they done part 2s of?
Radiohead.
Beatles.
All right. Let's see. So you got 2 of the 3: Radiohead, or the Beatles, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Radiohead. So they did the Beatles and Beatles Strike Back. So that's 95 and 2013. Red Hot Chili Peppers and Return of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, 96 and 2002. So I was surprised about that because those are very close together. Those are only it is technically possible if it takes you a little too long to graduate that you did both. So I mean, that's cool. And then Radiohead and Radiohead 2.0, 2006 and 2012. All of these shows, by the way, available on YouTube at the Pride of Arizona YouTube channel, which is where you're watching this. Go check it out. And then here, I mean, this is so sick. This was the ending of Radiohead 2.0. And the entire band comes off the field, and there is a single Pommy and that soloist. And they all come to the front, and so nobody sees them, and all you see is those 2 people. And that is the sickest ending that I could possibly have. It's so cool.
That.
I'd recommend checking out the show. It's a really good one. And all the shows there. All right. When did the Pride get new uniforms? So one of the uniforms we use now are obviously the double sequin sort of situation, but when did we get the new ones? For a year.
2011 or 2012, I think.
2010?
All right.
No idea.
All right, let's see. We got 2013, actually.
Ooh.
So it went from the uniform that a lot of people know of with the blue shako, blue bottom sequins, which are like the kind of piece in the middle, red stripe on the gauntlet, which is a little-known detail, and then basically the shoulders were super sharp and had blue lining on them, to our current uniforms, which have the white shako, split sequins, the 2 shiny sequins, white gauntlets, and white epaulettes, which are the shoulder pieces that look really cool. And fun fact about it, our uniforms are stored at our homes, with us being responsible for bringing them to games. And that's something that was new to me, because in high school it was just kind of stored at the high school, in a closet somewhere, in a storage area, and then you get there and you get dressed. But for the Pride, if you ever go to a Pride or a University of Arizona football game, you'll see the Pride showing up, and we all got our big blue bags with us. We got our uniform bags, and we're wearing like parts of stuff, and yeah, it's really cool. All right, what year was the first ever Pride of Arizona Band Day?
This could be a lot of things.
I'll give you a hint. It's within 5 years of another really big moment for the Pride, as far as what the Pride would end up becoming.
I must say 1935. I have no idea.
I mean, me and Gracie are kind of the outliers here because we're both not from here,
Yeah.
in California, and we'll talk about that later about coming from the state.
And
But
I was an ASU fan for 17 years, so
that's
I'm not
and then you came here. Where did it go wrong? Where did it go wrong?
I don't want to talk down ASU because I have friends going there in the same major
100%.
in the same major as me, but I just like the music ed program a little bit better.
Yeah,
that's
what's up.
It felt better for me.
Yeah. Also, Tucson's great. No matter how much they trash Tucson's great.
And I wanted to move out of my parents' house. That one too.
Yeah. Any guesses
I
besides
want to say
Gracie?
1953-ish.
All right.
One of those years. I know we had our 65th anniversary a year or two ago.
Yeah, something. 56.
All right. Let's go ahead and see. First band day, 1954. So this was the only photo I could find from 1954 University of Arizona, back when U of A had a yearbook, which I think is really cool.
Wow.
And I can't imagine that existing now because everybody's on like a different college schedule.
Oh my God.
But yeah, the first band day was hosted in 1954, which, if you didn't know, was, I believe, 2 years after Bear Down, Arizona was written. So that was the big thing. So yeah. All right. What was the largest crowd to ever watch the Pride of Arizona in action?
Very first Super Bowl.
All right. So you got the event. Make a guess at how many.
Like
Oh God.
300,000
50,000. So 75,000.
or 200,000. I have no idea.
I'm going to give y'all a fat hint. You're all very far off.
Arizona Stadium holds 55,000, right?
Is it like
50
80,000?
50,000 something.
50 something.
So a little bit of cheating. I'm counting the people that were watching on TV at the time.
Oh, come on.
It was actually Super Bowl one
Oh
was
my
62,000
God.
attendance and 90 million watching
Holy
on TV.
cow.
Well, I got the
Which-
event, so.
Which I'm a nerd and I decided to math. That's enough to fill Arizona Stadium about 1,700 times. That's 1,775
Jeez.
times. And last little fun fact here: the stadium has dorms built into it. It has Navajo Pinole Hall built into the back of the stadium. What you're seeing up here, that's the scoreboard, or not the score. Well, there's a scoreboard on there, but that's like the big screen that you see the Pride on every once in a while during
Jumbo.
games. I also hear those dorms are not the best to live in because it's just very loud all the time. And I mean, if you're trying to go to the university, I wouldn't recommend living in those dorms because there is no way you're going to be able to get work done on like a Saturday night or a Friday night because it's just going to be loud because that's how we do.
Yeah.
All right. So that brings us to the end of our trivia section. Again, this is all just kind of stuff that I kind of scrounged out, and I think it's some really cool, interesting stuff to check out. All right. So let's go ahead and move on here to a little bit of Q&A. So these are questions submitted by Pride members. These are questions that they have either had before, questions that they currently have, or questions that others have asked them. I know I have been asked several of these questions. Some of them are more interesting and a little more niche to the Pride. Some are more broad. So let's go ahead and start out here. All right. So this one's going to be kind of ironic for some of us. Why did you choose the instrument you're currently playing? Would you switch if you were ever given the option? So I'll go ahead and start this one. So I played clarinet, as you guys know, or if you watched the last one, I played clarinet all through high school. I played clarinet before high school. I did marching band for clarinet. And I did cymbals for indoor, and that's ultimately why I chose to try out for the drum line here, because I'm like, cymbals be cool. So, yeah, so I ended up playing cymbals that way. I do not regret that decision, not because I'm hating on the clarinet players, just because the drum line is so awesome, and I love everybody in the drum line, and it's a really cool group to be in. All right, so how about you guys?
Well, since I started music my sophomore year in high school, I did the flute and piccolo, sophomore, junior, and senior year. And then last year I played the piccolo. And then for this year, I actually switched to trumpet because ever since I was introduced to DCI in 2017, I've been absolutely obsessed with it.
Wait,
I've always
three people who are originally woodwind players are all DCI nerds. That's what's up.
Yes. This is
You
and
love
I've always wanted to march in DCI, so that's like my main drive to switching to trumpet and playing trumpet.
Awesome. I had a like phase like that in high school when I was trying to learn baritone or euphonium, one of the two, whichever one. My band wasn't being used to try to do drum corps. I don't know why I was doing it when I guess, and then eventually I could just
audition for.
it hit me. I'm like, I could just try really hard at cymbals and then try to get SCV, and that's about the extent of it. Yeah. And then I have indoor drumline as well on top of that. So I mean, works for me. But yeah, how about you, Anthony?
So I've played clarinet for 8-9 years. It changes, of course, because time.
Yeah.
But I've played clarinet for 9 years, and I still play it as my main instrument. But I decided this year to make the switch to mellophone because I don't know. I talked a little bit to my section of I'm the clarinet section about this, but like I don't know. I lost a little bit of the sort of drive that I had from like high school when I joined Pride, and I love the Pride. Fantastic, in a lot of ways better than my high school just because of how great the culture is. But again, that the DCI influence, as far as like the role in the ensemble, I just love the mellophone's role, especially in like a drum corps style ensemble, like kind of like the Pride. But
SCV 18.
Yeah. that closer just. Yeah, insane, absolutely insane, and it's just I've always wanted to do it, and I just felt like this would be the year to do it because I wouldn't want to do it like towards the end of my year with Pride because I want to make sure I end off on a really strong note, and it actually worked out quite well because of quarantine. I was able to do a whole bunch of studying with trumpet, and now it's going to be a more relaxed year, so I'm not thrown to the fire as much, so it's worked out quite well.
Awesome.
And yeah.
Awesome. All right, how about you, Sariah?
Well, I didn't get to choose which instrument I played. When I was in the 5th grade, way back in 2010, I think. I don't know. It's been a very long time.
Probably. I don't know. I don't know either. I don't know time.
I signed up for after-school band because, I was a child. I wanted to make noise with something. And I'd wanted to play the flute so bad because, all the girls wanted to play flute, and it was such a pretty little silver shiny thing. But my mom said no because my older sister had played the clarinet for 1 year, and we still had the instrument. My mom's like, we have it. You're going to play it because we don't want to pay money for a different instrument when we already have one you can play for free. And I've just kind of stuck with it.
Yep. I mean, that's kind of how I started clarinet. Like, my grandfather played clarinet. My dad played clarinet for a little bit. And then he was like, yeah, we have this clarinet. You could play that. And I used that as my marching clarinet for many years. And I still would be my main marching clarinet. Until I did a horn snap so hard that I actually broke the thumb rest off. Like, the thumb rest bent up and then just snapped off. Ooh. So for a whole season, I actually just put a wad of duct tape there and wrapped it up to make it a thumb. It looked terrible. It was like blue duct tape because the section color. High school was not fun. Yeah. But I also used a Leger plastic reed for most of my senior year, as well as a clarinet power barrel. For those of you who know what a power barrel
is, I am so jealous.
It sounds terrible, but you know what? It makes you super loud.
Yeah,
and
that's why ASU uses
them.
And the issue is that when you get them, they're a little bit smaller than a normal clarinet barrel, so it's automatically going to be sharp. So you have to pull out like a solid little bit just to start off.
Even more than you would normally have to in Arizona marching band.
Yep. So yeah, that's a good high school time. All right, Brooks. So how about you?
So I play the tuba, if you don't know, and I've always been playing the tuba, so it just seemed like fun. And a few years later, here I am. I don't know, it's just fun. It's always fun doing the tuba dance in the Pride. The tuba's maybe just a little important.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit of,
Something Professor Schumann always mentions is that the drum line is kind of like the heartbeat of the Pride, and using that sort of analogy, I would compare the tubas to kind of like the backbone of the Pride. It's kind of just like a supporting sound that everyone builds off of, and I think that's kind of how it's supposed to work. As far as musicality goes, again, I haven't played a woodwind instrument my main instrument in a while, but to my understanding, that's how it works. So yeah, I think every instrument has its own purpose, especially cymbals. And I mean, something if you guys didn't know about the Pride is that we don't have a pit yet, but we don't have a pit, and because of that, if you hear any cymbals, there's a 90% chance that that's us. It's either us or sometimes the drumline, the snares use little hi-hats. And I know there was a Pride show from back in the day when they used like like the whole cymbal line like ran to the front and then picked up tambourines and used it for a movement. I don't remember what show that was, but I mean that's cool. But yeah, so no matter how much, like I've heard people say, oh, cymbals are the easiest. No, cymbals are heavy. They're like 5 pounds each. So if anybody's interested in trying out cymbals, and maybe when everything gets better in the world as far as the virus, let me know. Hit me up at the Private Arizona Cymbals Instagram, and we'll see what we can do.
I held a pair of cymbals one time, and my arms were sore.
Yeah, that's every day. All right.
Ear protection. Oh,
ear
protection.
Yep. I have a pair of Zildjian earplugs that I use. Ear protection is huge. Our cymbal tech, Nicole, she has really bad hearing now because the first part of her time playing cymbal, she didn't use ear protection. He marched in Academy on the cymbal line. You can only imagine how loud that sort of stuff could have gotten. Well, before Academy cut their cymbal line.
Yeah, like everybody else.
Like everybody. SCV continues. All right.
For now.
All right. Let's see. So, what is your favorite game day memory? So we're kind of in a situation, we've all been in the Pride for at least a year now. I'm sure we all have favorite memories. So what is your favorite game day memory? I'll go ahead and start off here. I'd probably say my favorite game day memory was my rookie year. I was just kind of getting a feel for the college. I didn't really know what this was all about. And I'd already gotten the feel like, ooh, I'm wearing a uniform. This is cool. And then we get into the stands, and we're just kind of watching this first game. And, like, everything is happening. There's, like, stuff going on. We're winning, then we're losing. I don't remember how it's been so long. I don't like to think I'm old as far as Pride goes, but I can't remember my first, like, the entirety of my first home football game because at some point they just kind of blur together. I'm sure that happens for a lot of us, but yeah, I'd probably say just that moment of being in the stands and kind of really seeing what the Pride is all about. That would probably be my favorite game day memory because it's just such a cool feeling to be involved in something so much bigger than yourself, you know? Yeah. How about you guys?
I'd say definitely the first game day I ever had last year as a rookie, when we were in Giddings in the little square area, and we were warming up, playing some of the show music, and like just hearing it like all together in that little space. It was just so cool, and like I got chills and everything, and I was like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I love doing what I'm doing. 100%. And then when we're done, when Professor Shootman gives his little motivating speech, like no matter how many times he gives that before we go to what's it called?
Stadium.
Yeah, the stadium. that never gets old, and I just love every aspect of everything before we actually get into the stadium. Because the stadium, man, when I first went out there, I'm like, holy crap.
Yep.
But just all of that all together, has to be my favorite thing like ever.
Oh yeah.
I would probably say my first performance, if I could seem to remember it. It's completely blocking out of my memory right now. Funny you mentioned the performing in the stadium though. When I performed for band day, I was actually in like a small ensemble that did like an intro, and we came behind a tarp and went up on a ramp that was like backfield. And I remember because I was on field crew, so I was so just dealing with everything. With all the props, and we had a giant tarp and stuff, and I was getting back. And then once we got up for me to play my part, I remember just looking up, and I saw the second row, and it just was like, oh my god, this is crazy. And then I remember I probably overplayed that entire part.
Oh yeah.
When I was mic'd,
100%.
So.
I mean, when I overplay things, I just get a little bit louder. But like for wind players, it's a totally different thing.
yeah, especially when you're mic'd and you have second clarinet part, which
and you're like in a little solo stuff.
Yeah. And I would say, as far as like other memories, I was in pep band last year, and any pep band performance, because that group just kicks butt, man. That is just us playing really, really hard tracks like Tank or Skunk Funk, and just going to games and having an entire ensemble just lay that down, or even before in the moments before COVID happened at the Pac-12 tournament, that was still really, really cool. So
yeah, I've been to a couple of the basketball games, and I gotta tell you, if you guys haven't been to a basketball game and seen the Pride Arizona pep band, holy, go! Just whenever basketball or whenever indoor sports are happening, go, because it is the coolest thing, especially to see how like their whole system works, and is just a totally unique experience. I know Gracie and I went when for like something we were doing for a different group, and we just kind of went and watched, and it was just, I think we won that game too, so big dubs. Right. How about Brooks or Sariah? What are your guys' favorite game day experience?
I think my favorite game day experience, it's well, I think it's always finding my mom in the crowd during pregame, because my mom, she's always had, well, not always, but since I was in the Pride, she's always had season tickets, and my mom is not a football fan by any means. She does not know anything about football, and I don't either, but that's the point. But she's always made a point to come and see me perform, and just to be there to support me, and she always tells me which section she's in, and before I was a rookie, I didn't know where any of the sections were, what the stadium looked like, aside from on band day, and I would always find her, and before halftime, I would, because we do this thing, I love you, and I would just hold it up and wave it for her, and she would wave it back, and it was really funny because she sat next to this older couple this past year, and they were just like, so how do you think we're going to do this season? My mom's like, oh, I don't know. I'm only here for my daughter. She's in the band. And this older gentleman, his name was Ken, and he's like, oh, which one is she? My mom should try to point out which one I am, or
which plume you were.
Yeah. And they would all just like wave and go crazy up in the stands, and it was just, awesome. It was a great time.
Yeah, I know. Well, my parents, for my first couple games for the Pride, and every once in a while they'll come out from San Diego. It's only about a 5.5 hour drive, so they'll drive out, kind of watch a game, kind of enjoy the time. So yeah, it's definitely cool to see any of your family or friends supporting you in that way. It's definitely huge as far as being in the Pride. So, all right, how about you, Brooks? You got. Let's see. I mean, see, what's your favorite band day experience or band like game day experience?
Yeah, I've had a few. Just a few. I think it's always hard to beat your first, because I think every person who has marched in the Pride will say that their first game or their first pregame is they never expect that many people to be there, and then all of a sudden it's there.
A whole stadium, and it's like, oh no.
But yeah, so I'd say that, but I'd also argue that our away game to ASU, my freshman year, was also nice, because, I mean, mostly respect to ASU. They are a good school. It is easy to say that we hate them, and I often do. But they have a pretty good football team, I guess.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy getting in their faces. It's just as a presence. Our presence gets in their faces, and it does annoy. I do like annoying them when we show up, and so it's just. And that sounds petty, but it's just always fun. Like, it kind of feels like it just doesn't feel like we're supposed to be there, and it annoys people, but we are, and it does annoy people. So it's just always fun, especially because often we use the tubas as shields for auxiliaries. So it's just fun. And actually, freshman year, we were marching. I think we were on our way to perform at halftime. We were playing "When I'm 64" by the Beatles. And someone threw a peanut at me. I'm not allergic to them or anything, and it didn't too much. But like, I felt something bounce against my forehead. I was like, "What is that?" And it kind of fell. We're marching, and then I look and there's just a peanut in my hands. I was like, oh, that didn't really hurt, but I guess.
Sure.
I guess
Whatever
that's
you want
nice.
to do, man. I mean.
Yeah.
And then later we got back at I think 1 or 2 in the morning, and I lived in the dorms at that point. I went to take a shower, and after my shower I looked and I thought I had some dirt on my forehead, so I was trying to like scrape it off, and it was this tiny bruise from a peanut that someone threw at me.
Oh my god!
And it's not like I wasn't hurt. I was just like, wow, that actually left. So that's just a memory I always have.
That's an amazing story. That's amazing. I mean,
yeah.
I
it's just
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
so
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no, just the ASU games are always fun.
Oh yeah, like this
home and
last
away.
year for the No Doubt year, we got to go to ASU for the away game, and I just remember we were the drumline. We were in front of you guys, and I looked back, and there was like a super drunk guy leaning over the tubas, like yelling. I remember making eye contact, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And you're just like, "I don't know." You're just like yelling. Unfortunately,
Believe it or
when
not.
we
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
all right. Well, whenever we go to ASU, most of the time the fans are very chill because I mean ASU Stadium is nice, and they have a what's like Dutch Bros, right?
Yeah,
They have a Dutch Bros
now.
in
Yeah.
it, and I remember going there, and we all got like the super sugary, basically Red Bulls, and the whole cymbal line got them, and we were jacked up the entire time, and like even on the bus home after losing the game, we were like, ah. Yeah, that was a really good time. And
Those drunk guys were actually pretty nice after because they were over Jake and I,
yeah,
and they were like, oh well, at first I think they were joking that they were gonna spill their Dutch Bros on us. And then they said, oh, and then the security actually kind of our security wasn't the best.
I was like, hey,
But they're like, maybe not. But then they were actually standing behind us, and they actually got excited when they learned the conducting patterns for Nero. So, like, they'd call Nero with the drum majors,
Oh, yeah,
and then
yeah.
the 2 drunk guys were like, Nero, Nero, and then they'd start. They learned the patterns for all the songs.
I
So
remember seeing that, and I'm like, what are they? Oh, they're conducting. Are they? I mean, I guess.
So, yeah, it was nice.
I
I
vaguely
guess that's the
remember.
power of music. They normally would have hated us, but that excited them, and so
Yeah,
yeah,
that's really cool.
I mean, despite them being obnoxiously drunk,
And
they
ASU.
were pretty nice. No.
Yeah. I just something that was just this is more just kind of a little funny tangent, but when we went into the stadium, we have to go through metal detectors because ASU Stadium had metal detectors in our entrance, and the drum line just goes through, and you just hear everyone just like beeping incessantly, and like the cymbal line goes through, and we're like, and I was just imagining in my head like someone comes up, hey, why'd the metal detector go off? And we just look down, gee, I don't know, maybe it's these 2 metal plates I'm carrying that are 5 pounds each, and then like the tenors came in, and they're like hobbling in sideways because they can barely fit. And yeah, so kind of something related to that. I'm just going to mention this really quick. I'm sure we kind of share this. So as far as a Pride experience in general, I'm sure playing the warm-up chorale would probably be up there for most of us, especially this last year. You guys never heard it. We played Princess Leia's theme, which I got chills just now mentioning it. Like, there's a video out there on YouTube. Go watch it. We play it inside of the tunnel before we take the field for the second Band Aid performance.
Oh, that made me tear up. Oh my god.
We just get around, and if you look
So
carefully
good.
at the back at the end of the video, you see me running around all the cymbals and like, let's go, because like you're getting so hyped. But yeah, so while we're running out of time here, we're gonna go on to a little bit of college stuff. So I'll start with Gracie. So obviously, Gracie and I both from out of state. But Gracie, if you guys didn't know, Gracie's from Hawaii originally. So tell me kind of what was your decision process behind coming from Hawaii, probably one of the most beautiful places, in my opinion. It's amazing there, to a place that is completely landlocked. Just what's your logic there? I mean,
that's like the main thing people ask me all the time. Like, why would you leave Hawaii?
Yeah,
Like, why would you leave? The short answer I tell everybody, because the weather's like close to home. I want to, get off the island, get away from home. But actually, the main reason is when I was doing college tours. This was the first college I visited, and it was actually the family weekend. So I actually got to watch your guys' rehearsal on Baydon Field, and I was like, holy crap, I love the marching band here. I met Professor Shootman, Professor Ueda, the drum majors, and I was in love like already. Like I was like, okay, Mom, I don't want to see the other colleges. I don't want to see the other marching bands. This is where I want to go. Yeah. But yeah, I still went to the other colleges, but that like marching band is actually the main reason why I'm at U of A right now, because I knew it was for me, it was either track or marching band, and that was a big decision for me because I did track all 4 years in high school, and it was a big part of my life, but so was music. So that was like, I had to choose one or the other because I knew I couldn't do both. And I chose marching band, obviously, and I honestly could not have made a better choice. Like, I'm so happy I made the choice to join U of A's marching band and be a part of it. So
for me, that was like the same. I went through the same process of elimination. I mean, my grades weren't stellar. I mean, they were okay, but they weren't like super, like I could get into any UC I wanted. I actually got into no UCs, interesting fact. But I ended up getting to like San Francisco State, which I found out didn't even have a marching band, which I was like, no. And I also got into University of Oregon and U of A. You guys probably already heard the story, some of you, but chose U of A because, one, I visited both campuses, and like I liked both of them, but like I really liked Arizona's weather. Because I kind of like the dry heat. It's never muggy unless it's monsooning, and even like I'm a sucker for rain. I love rain, so whenever it's monsooning, it's just like, oh, it's so nice. And also, Oregon didn't give me any scholarships, and it's a lot of money. It's like way more money to go from out of state for Oregon than out of state for University of Arizona. So, and I watched the video, and I'm like, okay, I kind of want to go to U of A. And I mean, University of Arizona's uniforms, we just mentioned, they're awesome. But yeah. So how about, I know some of you guys, I mean, Anthony from ASU land, somewhere up there. I know Sariah is also local, Cienega High School, right?
Yep, that's me. Go Bobcats.
Yeah. And God, I'm not 100% sure where you went, Brooks.
Want to guess?
Not really, because I'm gonna guess Arizona still. I'm just not sure from where in Arizona.
Tucson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm local.
All right. So for you guys, obviously, your decision to kind of go to the U of A probably was slightly influenced by being in Tucson or being in the vicinity of University of Arizona. But what kind of was like the final nail in that sort of decision making? What was the thing that's like, okay, I'm going, no doubt about it. Especially for the guy who came from ASU land.
Well, I know for me, my decision came from my mom having a job there, so tuition is less for me, and band, obviously. It's just, I never really thought about going to any other schools. It was always just the U of A, and being there. I didn't even think about any of the other state schools. Just U of A Wildcats. Bear down.
Yeah, go Cats. 100%. Yeah, I know. That's definitely probably. I've talked to a lot of people because I teach at a Sahuarita High School for indoor drumline, and I've talked to a lot of those kids, and a lot of those kids are in the same sort of, oh, I've only ever wanted to go to U of A. And one of the snare players from this year, Philip, who's super awesome from Sahuarita High School, he also only wanted to go to U of A, and his goal the entirety of high school was go to U of A, get on the drum line, have a good time. And it's super awesome that he made it, and he's getting really good, and that makes me feel good because I'm terrible at snare, but I tech their cymbals, and I'm kind of like, I help them, so that's really cool for me. But yeah, how about you guys?
Yeah, Brooks, you want to
go? Sure, yeah. So I grew up in Tucson. I was born in TMC, and I stayed here pretty much. But when I was in high school, when I was graduating, I was interested in leaving Arizona because it's kind of hot. It's frequently over 100 degrees, and I think that may be one of our downsides, I guess, to living here. So I was interested in maybe leaving. So I applied to University of Michigan, University of Georgia, and just other places, and I got in, surprisingly. If you know me, that's surprising. But no, it's just, well, one factor was money. It's a lot cheaper to stay in state, and the U of A is a good school. And B, the pride of Arizona was, the POA was an influencing factor because it just wasn't, I don't want to say it's less intense, but it was just logistically, you don't have to, the audition process isn't as hard. because I'd have to find a way. I'd have to fly all the way to Michigan or Georgia to audition, and I don't really want to do that. So it was just nice being able to stay in town, and so and I wanted to study economics, and there wouldn't be a point in because our economics department is about the same as Michigan or Georgia's. So there's no point in paying that much more money just to
Yeah, I see. Yeah,
just for it to be cool down.
Yeah, I mean Arizona's great. Tucson's great.
Oh yeah,
so,
it's great. It's great humidity and better than ASU.
Yeah, better.
As I
speaking of ASU, Anthony, let's go.
Yeah. I kind of honestly, I have this conversation with so many people because people that know me know that I come from Tempe, or I tell people, and I kind of still don't know to a certain extent why I did this. But yeah, my previous experiences with U of A, like there was that band day experience, and I was like, yeah, no, this and I actually saw you guys perform when there was the game at, I think it was against BYU or Penn State that was in the the Cardinal Stadium. I actually did see you guys perform at that. It might have been a couple years behind you guys, but I saw that, and then I also as far as like music school stuff, Dr. Nicholson, he actually conducted the All-State group when All-State was here in 2018, and of course the people in this room know Dr. Nicholson, and that was like, okay, that's a very, very big positive for going to a school like this. And then you factor that in with how much Centennial Hall and just all my experiences with that, and just sort of when I finally got sort of a more even look, or if anything a bit more of a less biased ASU, because I didn't want to do like, I don't know, I didn't get the right vibes from ASU once I really started looking into it. And you combine all that with all the great experiences I had, and how great the clarinet professor here is for what I want to do, and just awesome. It was just it made too much sense. I'm not really much of a go by your gut kind of person, but this
was a situation where it kind of like I mean I see,
and it was the best decision of my life. I could not be more happy with it, even though I look back at it and I'm kind of like, why did I do this? This was significantly more expensive because I had to pay for this dorm that I'm living in right now.
That's also true. Yeah, dorm living's expensive, but if you haven't lived on campus and if you're coming in, I would recommend, even if you're from out of state or even if you're from in-state and you live close enough to like live at home. I know one of the rookie we talked to last week, he decided to live on campus just because like he wanted that more legit college experience, even with everything going on. And he also wanted to separate himself from his family just to be safe. So, because if he does go and he's getting testing every week, if you guys didn't know that, the people living in the dorms get tested basically every week. And testing is open, antigen testing is open for off-campus students as well, which I think is awesome, just to keep it safe. But yeah, it's definitely, I would highly recommend living on campus. If you financially can't, I completely understand, but living on campus is so much fun. Being able to wake up at about, maybe like if you have a class at 10, waking up at 9:50 and being there on time is like, it's the best feeling in the world. Like you can't beat it.
Especially for me, since I'm in Manzanita Mojave and I'm a music major. So when I had 8 a.m.s last year, my freshman year, I could roll out of bed at like 7:50, put some clothes on, and run down to my music techniques class.
Manzimo, yeah.
It takes 2 minutes to get to the music building. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah. So living on campus is great. We're running a little short on time here, so we'll kind of finish up with some last things. So do you guys have any last tips for surviving college, band life, everything in that? So for me, it would be just like try to eat healthy if you can. Have a consistent schedule with how you wake up, when you go to sleep, when you do homework. And something that is kind of difficult to do now is kind of break the mold. So what I'd recommend is if you something I discovered at the end of last semester when we had gone officially completely online because everything was going on, and they're just like, go online quickly before anything bad happens. I got very much stuck in the rut of wake up over there, do homework over here, eat back there, do homework over here, go to bed. And after a while, it starts to make you go crazy. So I'd recommend trying to break the mold, do exercise, go on runs, go on walks, do a bike ride, find somewhere else to study, or just find something else to do to kind of break out of that sort of just chunk of world you are in, because breaking out of that is definitely a really important thing to do, especially as fingers crossed everything goes well. We'll be preparing to come back in person at the Pride of Arizona on Monday. Fingers crossed. If you are watching and you live in any of the apartments around the university, stop. Because the sooner that we can get that going, the sooner we can get back in person and learn better, do band again, and have a good time. But any of you guys have any final words as far as how to survive college or how to survive in the Pride?
Well, from my experience, especially with the transition far from home, just know that no matter what you're going through, anything you're going through, you are not alone. There's always somebody who has gone through the same thing that you're going through, or who is also currently going through the same thing. And no matter what, you are not alone. And it's okay to talk to somebody, or even just like hang out with people, and just, just stay connected, and just know that you have connections and support here in college, even when, your family's far from home and you feel like you have nobody to talk to. There is always somebody to talk to, no matter who it is. You are not alone, and trust me.
100%.
Yeah.
Like if you are going to the U of A, chances are someone in your same major is in the Pride. Someone in your same like class is in the Pride. We are all here for you. And if you do join the Pride, you immediately have, this is kind of the line that gets used every time, but you immediately have 200 friends right off the bat.
Yeah.
Probably even more. So
a second family, basically.
Second family, a second huge, like 19 kids and counting level family. So definitely reach out, definitely stay in communication with each other, and you're not alone. All right. How about you? Any of you other guys have anything?
Use a planner, especially now that we're all online. I've always used a planner, like in high school. Now it's a lifesaver. There's so many times I forget about assignments, and then I open my planner. I'm like, what do I have to do today? Oh my
I hate how relatable that is.
Assignment. But use the planner. But when you use your planner, schedule in breaks, because there's nothing that will be more detrimental to you and your experience and your,
mental health.
Yeah. And your study habits than, just trying to pound it all out all over just a couple hours. But like, your brain needs a break, especially when you're switching when you're switching between classes for homework, because that kind of flip is just, it's like reading a different language.
Yep. 100%. All right. Brooks, Anthony, anything?
Everything that Sariah said, I have to agree with. I use a whiteboard. I don't have like a paper planner, just because I don't know. It works a
high
little
tech.
Yeah. Who cares? I use a combination of that and stuff on my phone. So like long term stuff, I do that. But if it's like for the week, I just put it up there.
For sure.
But yeah, and also what I would say as far as just motivation to get out of bed and stuff is like wake up well before your classes. If you have classes at 9, wake up at 8 or 7. That's what I do. But it helps, because you don't have to wake up and immediately go to classes, because I tell you, it is not good motivation. It does not feel good to wake up in the morning knowing the first thing you have to do is go to oral skills or theory or
Zoom
some terrible
fatigue
class.
Sucks. Zoom fatigue. I hate Zoom at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, especially if it's in a subject that you enjoy, but not in the morning. Like, it's just...
Nothing is enjoyable in the morning. I don't care if you say you're a morning person, you're not.
Yeah, I'm a morning person, but I still do not like doing dictation and other music theory stuff in that early in the morning. It is not fun. I can 100%. Barely do that when my brain is properly functioning.
100%. All right. From our senior member, what do you got?
I guess one thing would just be to communicate with your teachers or professors. When I was a freshman, I kind of struggled with that. And then there are points in my fall semester when I'd be overwhelmed with marching band or just classes, just life happens. And I would avoid talking to my professors because I wouldn't want them to think I'm stupid. but lo and behold, they already did. No, but you just want, no, you just want to be careful with just you want to communicate with your professors. They understand, and well, most will. But you'll just want to just communicate with your professors. If you're going through a tough time, then it's important to communicate with them, because mental health is important, and this is a very stressful time, just everywhere. So just talk to your professor. They'll probably understand that where you're coming from, and if you miss an assignment, we'll try not to. Those are important. Those stack up, but just they'll understand if you just communicate with them and say, "Hey, this week is overwhelming. What do you recommend, or what can I do?"
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of professors, especially with everything going on right now, are very much in the mindset of trying to be nicer with things, trying to be more forgiving. One of my professors actually said that he is under like orders pretty much to try to be forgiving and try to be flexible with turn-in dates, because no one knows what's happening right now. Everything's crazy. People might have great Wi-Fi. I, for one, have terrible Wi-Fi in my apartment, and that's just something we all have to live with. So I definitely would highly recommend, like, this doesn't have too much to do with COVID, but last year I emailed my professor and said, hey, I noticed I didn't do too well on this quiz. Is there any way? It wasn't like asking for extra credit, but is there any way you can help me like clarify that? And she helped me figure it out and then gave me 100% on the quiz that I had trouble on. So professors are there to help you, believe it or not. This isn't in college. It's a little bit different than high school. In college, almost all the professors are there like because they love what they do. They love teaching. They love helping people, and I'd highly recommend staying in contact with them. That's 100% really, really good help. All right. So first off, I want to thank everybody here for coming. Thank you to all of you guys for taking a little bit of time out of your afternoon. I know we're all tired of Zoom, but I appreciate you guys for joining me for the second podcast. Hopefully next week we'll be in with a whole different group of people, whole different group of questions, and another version of the trivia that I will have to do a lot of research on again. So again, thank you guys for coming. Bear down, go Cats. See you next week.